Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into the Trap Draw podcast. My name is Randy. We are talking ball this week. I got a couple of the ball knowers. Ball knower Tron is out of the country, so you will not be hearing from him. I am sorry, Eagles fans, but joining me, ball knower Poosh, ball knower Neil. Ball knower Poosh, let's start with you, man. What's going on? How are you?
Just living life at home, off the road, doing a lot of film breakdown, grinding in the knowers chambers. Yeah, my Niners are frisky. We like that. We like the way we're winning ball games. And Jalen Hurts stinks. So we have a lot of things to talk about. So
Lot to talk about. Neil, ball knower Neil, I'll come to you with that. Tough little stretch here for Jalen Hurts.
For sure.
We'll get into that. I'm more curious how you're doing, Neil. What's going on?
I'm fantastic as always, Randy. Good to be back in the saddle. You know, I haven't been on a whole lot of pods. I've got human life that I'm dealing with over here. Everybody's good. So, but I have been watching a lot of football. Poosh, I want to shout you out to start. You've highlighted some Instagram accounts that I've really enjoyed. What's the film watchers guy? That guy he's almost like doing like a Gruden impression where he's like, you watch Bijan Robinson. Look at this trap block here. He's just breaking down film. I can't get enough of that guy.
he's awesome, and it's like he doesn't have a particular team that he kind of links onto. I can't remember what his name is. I'll try to find it really quickly, but he just
it looks like he's in his dorm room. He's always wearing Auburn gear.
He looks young.
But he's got a football mind. He's a knower, and I just love like he's breaking down like Ben Johnson's like run schemes. You know, a lot of these like traps, or he had a video about Puka Nacua like inserting into the C gap to run like a choice route, and I was like, this is good stuff, man. Like I love it, and he's kind of guardy. And then it seems like he might do some like consulting for specific players. Like he's slid up in the comments with some guys that he like works with them. So I don't know.
Film.watchers one.
Yeah, someone for me to watch. Just someone for me to be watching. You know, like what this guy picking up what he's putting down. So would recommend him to the knowers audience out there.
Speaking of IG, I unblocked myself over Thanksgiving week just because it was a slow week, and it's amazing just how much time I spend on there. My brain turns to mush. But I did come across, what do you guys make of, Neil? I think I sent you one, Poosh. I'm not sure if you're aware. The account is Gaunt, but this trend of the boys lining up and trying to draw each other off sides pre-snap, that made me chuckle. I think that's a good development that the lads are doing.
Randy, I think we were doing this long before, calling people out at the bar, you know,
That's
balls
right.
and strikes, tossing people, decades ago. So I way in on this trend. Full support from me.
Good. Well, thank you to Mr. Jeezy. Of course, through him, all things are possible. Thank you also to our title sponsor, that is our good friends at ServPro. ServPro is the #1 brand in cleanup and restoration and is known for making any mess like it never even happened. With over 2,200 locations nationwide, they're faster at any size disaster. ServPro is here to help 24/7. Just call 1-800-ServPro. That's ServPro, or visit servpro.com. Boys, let's start here. Any mea culpas? Anybody want to raise their hand? Neil, specifically, we haven't heard from you in a while. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm just wondering if there's anything you need to cleanse yourself of.
Well, big week for Bills fans. Whether or not I'm going to get a mea culpa with this matchup with the Patriots, but God, my AFC East takes are just playing out really well. So I'm still waiting on that mea culpa, but I would like to go with maybe a little premature, and I'm not alone in this, but on Baker Mayfield and kind of, a lot of MVP chatter early in the year. I kind of bought into all of that. I don't know if he's playing hurt, but he doesn't look good, guys. The last 3 weeks, it's just the Bucks in general seem to be fading. The NFC South is a dumpster fire. Just a lot of you don't know if the Panthers are going to show up. You don't know if the Bucks are going to show up. The Falcons are a disgrace. And the Saints, who knows? So, but I think I might've gotten I know Baker had a good year last year. And so there's a lot of momentum from that, but maybe I got caught up in that, Randy. in kind of dictating that. Like, has Baker turned back into a pumpkin? If he has, I'd like to issue a mea culpa for that.
Well, he had a really strong start to the year, and he had that game
He's
in
definitely
Seattle where he really just like took over in the second half and played out of his mind against a crazy Seattle defense. That was when in that game, when they came back and won that game, I was very impressed. And then he kind of got hurt, and then the injuries to the wide receivers and Bucky Irving, that kind of changed the offense a little bit, and it felt like they became very predictable. I think that was tough, losing Mike Evans, losing Bucky Irving.
For sure.
So,
but he was still producing with those. And it feels like he's playing hurt, but there's not really like an injury. They're not really telling us about it. Let's put it that way. I mean, the same thing's kind of going on with the Ravens. Like, is Lamar hurt? Like, he doesn't look the same.
Yeah,
but I think I got a little carried away with like, oh my God, Baker's having this like renaissance to his whole career. Maybe it's just like a blip. Maybe it's just like hot and cold. I feel like I got a little carried away with the Baker has arrived, late career, like tier 1 quarterback. And I'm like, maybe I got a little carried away there. So just hand up,
Well, it seems like he got really inaccurate out of nowhere. Like, he just feels like the ball is not hitting the target. Seems like he's overthrowing the ball a lot, like he's high, which usually when that happens, it usually means they're hurt, like something's going on. If a quarterback just gets wildly inaccurate out of nowhere.
I have a mea culpa. Speaking of Lamar and the Ravens, I think it was on our last show that I thought the Ravens would be 9-5 at some point, and we still wouldn't know how good they are. They lost to the Bengals at home on Thanksgiving. Did not see that coming. Lost to the Steelers last week at home. Now they come to Cincinnati. If they don't beat the Bengals this weekend, boys, like, they might not win another game. And there's just too much talent. Maybe I'm just overrating the organization, but I expected more out of the Ravens, and I think they're headed for a crossroads if they're not there already. So hand up, I was thinking that they'd bounce out of this, and it doesn't look like they will. So Poosh, I know you don't make mistakes very often. I don't know if you have any mea culpas this week or not.
Well, I just want to make it abundantly clear I have no business relations with ServPro.
Until you have an issue,
until you need something,
until you have a disaster, and then I want to hear from you.
But I did play golf with Paul from ServPro at the NIT. So, we discussed some maybe future partnerships.
Poosh wants in on the action, Randy. Look at this.
No. Listen, no. I don't
do a solo.
We're good.
Poosh needs to get
but
that.
On behalf of
All In is now presented by ServPro at all Iration concerts.
Just in the middle of the show.
Yeah.
That vocal, I forget the words. Yeah, let's call ServPro. But I wanted to say, on behalf, I just want to put an olive branch out there, and this is just on behalf of all you guys. Just make sure that Poosh is rowing in the same direction. Olive branch to Sensei Sturm. I will say Jordan Love is playing at a very high level right now. I aesthetically, like, some people really like the way that Jordan Love plays football. To me, I watch football every weekend, and it bothers me to see how much quarterbacking and offense is off schedule. I mean, Mahomes was kind of like the canary, and now it's just become like everybody. That's just like how offense is. It's like, let's just play out of structure, break the pocket. Herbert literally breaks the pocket like 80% of the time and either runs or, does something, Caleb is kind of the same way.
Our guy was running for his life, to be fair. That O-line is tough.
True. But I'm just saying, like, and it generally, it's probably the same with Mahomes to a certain extent. But like a guy like Caleb or Jordan Love, who have really top level, they're getting really protected. They still, he throws off his back foot all the time. Aesthetically, it bothers me, but it's working. So
I will ride with you on this, Poosh. I think that's a fantastic take. There's no doubt he's playing at a high level and it's working, but the fadeaway jumper, at some point, it's like, man, that can't work forever. Like this, like off the back foot touch pass, like on a guy like running back to the ball. It's like, I don't really like the way that looks either. And what you're saying about Mahomes also resonates. It's like a little bit of a Steph Curry factor. From like, I love watching Steph, one of my favorite basketball players of all time. But the fact that created Trae Young is a problem for me.
Yeah.
Like the second generation of Steph, I have no interest in it. And I don't like the ball stopping NBA stuff. And I see a little bit of that, like what you're talking about with Mahomes inspiring like that type of football. It just doesn't, it looks a lot better when Mahomes does it, to his credit. It just, with Jordan Love, I'm with you. Like aesthetically, I don't love it.
Yeah, when it works, it's awesome. But when it stops working, then it becomes a problem, because now you're just totally used to not playing within the structure of the offense. And I mean, aesthetically, I just prefer guys like Burrow, Purdy, guys like that. That just, I know, but it's like it works, right? Like you stay in the system, it works, and
you should be a massive golf guy. Are you a
I am a golf
guy?
I like golf. I like
days?
golf. Yeah. I like it because he's always in rhythm and in structure. And it's like, especially when he was paired up with Ben Johnson previously, it was very nice, because it was like hit the back foot and the ball's out. You know what I mean?
You compare, I would say Drake May. Good God.
Yeah,
like
May,
the way that he steps into deep balls is like, I love it. It's pretty much what you're not getting out of Mahomes anymore, is like he can't complete anything down the field, which I don't know, it's a personnel issue for them, but like, God, the timing on Drake May is like, it jumps off the screen. Watching that Giants game, I mean, I think the highlight of the year, not to jump ahead here, Randy, is Jackson Dart getting truck sticked on the sideline. I think that was the play of the year for me so far, by like some like mid-level linebacker, because he refuses to just go out of bounds. And then they didn't throw like a late hit flag. I was like, I rewound it like 10 times. Like, this is awesome. This is
football, baby.
This is it, baby. Yeah. It's like, and then Drake May just like not doing too much and hitting guys in stride is like the Patriots. Like, I'm not a Patriots fan, but they are a fun football team to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, it just comes back to like, what aesthetically, that's just what I prefer. Like, if you're scheming, if there's a scheme to be had, like, it just seems like, and you have Andy Reid, right, who's one of the greatest play callers, play designers, schemers of football, offensive football ever. And then it just becomes kind of Patrick Mahomes just kind of freestyling all over the place. And it, like, yes, in the fourth quarter when the game is on the line, totally fine, because it's like the wide receiving talent isn't great. But if it's every play, and then it becomes like all these guys grew up watching Mahomes, and then they go, "Oh, that's what I'm gonna do." Then it just becomes like, what? Why is there offense? You know what I mean? It's like just scramble drill every single play.
Randy, before we move on from mea culpas, I would like a mea culpa from you on my Steelers take in our preseason show. I had a feeling that the Steelers were going to be a force in your division, the AFC North, and I was right about that. Now at 9-8, I don't know about force, but they're probably gonna win the division. So I would like a little bit of credit on Aaron Rodgers. Still, you got a little Vince Carter. I got one more in me.
That is fair. I don't think it's a full mea culpa, because I don't think the Steelers are any kind of force, but they do look likely to win the AFC North. And so I will apologize for totally discounting that, Neil.
And then can you just apologize to knowers everywhere on the Bengals defense?
Oh, I mean, I hope I've apologized before. It's awful.
It's so bad, man. It's
atrocious.
So tough.
It's so tough.
It's just such a, also then you see when Burrow comes back, he's so good. It's just a tragedy.
Yes.
What he's going through right now.
It's so wasted.
It's such a waste. It's just gluttonous. It's awful, man. I hate it.
Yeah. I have one more mea culpa. I will own this as a alum of Indiana University. Guys, I don't know if you listened to Francisco Mendoza after the end of the Big Ten championship game. I just want to apologize for all of that. I think he's undraftable. He was removed from my draft board. I God bless the kid. I don't know how you can go into an NFL locker room like that. Something's going to have to give there. I'm very worried.
It's almost, is it the full Tebow? like Tebow was so on the nose with that stuff, but Tebow also had like the I'm gonna run you over aspect, which is like, all right, well, I mean, the guy's gonna like do QB power every other play.
He reminds me of it's Kirk Cousins-esque. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm just gonna be the most like stock, hey neighbor, like white dude quarterback ever. Just like, oh yeah, Gio was great, and the team really came together. It just seems like
Poosh's white guy impression. I'm here for this.
It was horrible.
Asians fighting back.
It was Cousins mixed with Tebow mixed with it. Just like I said, can't have it. Won't be drafting Mendoza. I don't know if I called him Fernando Mendoza.
I guess he's not a white guy.
He's been removed from my draft.
Well, I mean, my wife said it. She's like, "Have you seen this?" And she was like, "This is bad." And then it goes on for so long that she's like, "Oh, it almost kind of becomes endearing by the end." And I'm like, not really, man. I'm struggling with this. But he's really good. That's the problem.
He's gonna have to be so good to overcome it. I don't know if he's that good. I don't know.
God, this getting you
It's
so
like he's like the Mark Madsen. He's like Mark.
Yeah,
Madsen.
A little bit of Mark Madsen. Yeah, that's a good call. So anyway, those are the main
that like, people like it.
He's got a little bit of the Tony from DC in him. I don't know if it's the only thing you got going for it is it does feel like it's real. So that's something. At least he's excited. Like I don't get excited about Kirk Cousins, but the more you see him on like the QB show, you're like, all right. I mean, he's kind of a schnitz, but like at least he's an authentic schnitz.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of Russ, who's like an inauthentic schnitz, right?
Yes, exactly. We're not faking it here.
Yeah.
So Randy just wants him to fake it. He wants him to be a cool guy.
No,
this doesn't mean anything to me.
No, we just
don't like God.
we just got to tone it down. It was so tough. It was so tough. All right, those are the mea culpas. Thank you to ServPro. 1-800-ServPro.
Hot start today.
ServPro.com. Boys, a really quick run of show. We're going to dive into a couple of the big NFL stories. I got some discussion questions. We got a few things to wrap up. But generally, we're talking ball. We're busting balls. This is going to be a fun episode. I want to start right here. I think the biggest story are the Kansas City Chiefs officially dead. Has the coroner confirmed it? Poosh, I'll start with you. Is there any chance we see them in the playoffs this year? And then more broadly speaking, what do you think about next year and the coming years for the Kansas City Chiefs?
Well, I think they're done. And I mean, that's another mea culpa probably on my part, which I was saying, I thought they were turning the corner, a couple weeks back, or 3 weeks ago, and they've really just kind of sunk back into mediocrity. I think it's a team that is largely like riding on the back of very few players. They have some cornerstone players. Obviously, they have Patrick Mahomes. They have great coaches. They've got Chris Jones, but they don't do a whole lot of things well. I think the normal things that they usually do well, winning with on the margins, teams, timely offensive plays, timely defensive plays. It just seems like all those things have kind of like not happened this year, and also just like not getting timely calls from the referees. Yeah. I think that honestly, that like if you think about how many games,
say that. I'm with you.
The last, and I know that's become a very stock, criticism of the Chiefs. But if you go back and look at the last few years, how many games turned on a massive call like that could have gone either way, and it was debatable, super debatable, offensive PI or defensive PI or roughing the passer or whatever it was, a hold or whatever, and the game shifts on that one call. It's happened a lot. So there's a regression that's happening there, and they're just not that good. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, what do they do really well? I don't know. They don't really throw the ball very well. They don't really run the ball very well. They play pretty good defense, but it's not elite. So, there's too many teams, especially in the AFC, that have really, really strong defenses, and like being in the division with the Broncos and being in the division with the Chargers, who have a good defense, and then playing Houston, teams like that just have these really, really tough defenses. They obviously pose a massive issue for the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are sliding because of that. So I think, looking at their schedule, they're at the Chargers, and then they have the Broncos again on Christmas. And so I think if they don't win out, they're dead anyway, probably. If they lose to the Chargers, I think they're eliminated. So
the athletic simulator, like playoff simulator, which is great, has them at 12% chance to make the playoffs, which is not good, because they got to win out, and it's just their division. It's a bunch of division games. It's like, it's tough, man.
And they lose tiebreakers to the Texans, the Jags, and we'll see with the Chargers.
And let me say that's thrilling for me as not a Chiefs fan. It's like, hell yeah, a playoffs where we don't have to go to Arrowhead, and I'm ready for some new blood in the playoffs. I think the biggest thing has been there's a lot, like, Mahomes still makes plays with his feet, and he's like still tier 1, no doubt about it, but there's just no playmaking down the field. It's like on the edges of the spectrum of offense, no plays down the field, and Kareem Hunt is just not the answer at running back, and Pacheco's been hurt. They just don't have anybody that can, like, give him a consistent run game. And then you combine that with, like, well, no one's scared of them, like, going deep. Like, Worthy stinks. Rashee Rice is good, but he was out for the first 6 games, and I don't think he's like a game breaker. And then Kelsey's just, he's been productive, but you can't.
It's just getting old.
You can't expect him to be like the centerpiece of the offense. If he was like a legit option 2, where he could kind of get lost in the shuffle and run his, like, backyard football routes, because you had, Rashee Rice was taking over, then that would be one thing. But then, Poosh, you said it earlier. It does feel like Mahomes just, like, now he's probably trying to do too much because they have no run game. So then he's running around just backyard football style, which is, I don't know, you're playing with fire if that's going to be your offense.
Do you guys think, because you look at Mahomes, he's 30 years old. He's still, like, listen, I root against him, but he's still a very good quarterback. He still makes things happen. He still is very dangerous, right? But you look at the seasons he put together, really starting in 2018, but 19, 20, 21, 22, where he was, over 4,500 yards one season there, over 5,000 yards, 50 TDs one season. And now he's, 22 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He's got the lowest quarterback rating of his career, 91.2 as of today. Like, do you think, I guess if we're going to make a pie graph, right, how would you split up the pie graph between lack of weapons, perhaps attributing to, just not as good a performance from Mahomes, the league adjusting and figuring out the best way to defend Mahomes and these Chiefs offenses, or, like, he's 30 years old and maybe he's out of his prime and we're seeing a little bit of just slippage, and this is kind of who he's going to be for the next several years. I'm curious what you guys think about that.
I don't think Mahomes is dead. I think they need to just retool the roster. On defense too, like, Chris Jones he's probably going to be past his prime, but nobody else on that D line is scaring me. Chernall, like, it's not like they have, like, edge rushers that are. I think Nick Bolton's really good. Poosh, I'm on record with that. That guy's a sideline to sideline run stopper. Maybe not the best in coverage, as
Tackler.
you pointed out to me in our thread, but I find him magnetic. I think that guy's a ball hawk.
Guy's a hitter.
He's a hit. Yeah, I love watching him play football. But then on the, in the secondary, it's just not as. They used to be, like, above average on it, in all 3 parts of the defense, and now I feel like they've got, like, a feature player in each, D line, linebacker, secondary, but, like, they've got some holes on defense, which is also a problem. But I think Mahomes could have a second act of his career, is what I'm saying.
Well, I think you look back and it's like, when did Patrick Mahomes sign the massive contract? I mean, that in retrospect, it's not that crazy now, but when he signed it in 2020, it was massive, right? Like $500 million deal, obviously, like, which he deserved. But then when that happens, what happens? They had to lose Tyreek Hill. So Tyreek Hill changes any offense, right? Like, especially Tyreek Hill in his prime, which, that's 5 years ago now. He's still a very, very problematic in many ways player for the Dolphins, but like he unlocks an offense, right? He just is such a threat. Anytime he gets the ball, he's a threat crossing the field. He's a threat going deep. He's a threat on a screen. Like, he can take it to the house almost anytime. So you take away that piece of the offense, and it changes the dimensions of what they're doing. They become from 4D. Now they're like more of like 2.5D like offense, right? It's like you can zone in on Rashee Rice, you can zone in on Kelsey, and Kelsey with losing a half step, not the same player. So, and when the run game is just not that threatening, like, it's just not, it's easier to control, and everybody's running too deep coverage. So they're running cover 2, and it's like, or quarter, so you can't blow the top off the defense. Worthy and these guys, Tyquan Thornton, they're not like that big a threat, so they can kind of squash the field and just make them have to like churn it, like churn out
with
first
Kelsey
downs
falling off, and then like 4 years of trying to like plug holes with Juju Smith-Schuster type receivers is like, that's gonna catch up to you. Just not. There's nothing elite about outside of the like quarterback. I still think Mahomes is elite though. I really do. Like, yeah. I think he's saddled with like just like not high level options this year.
Yeah, and the defense, like, they had 2 great corners, and they had L'Jarius Sneed on the other side when they won the Super Bowl against the 49ers in 2024. And that after that season, they had to let him go because he got paid by the Titans. And then they were running. Justin Reed was a great, solid safety for them for many years, and then they lost him. So it's like they're just kind of, there's just a lot of turnover because they just can't afford to pay everybody. And so, and Chris Jones, I think, renegotiated because he held out. And there's just a lot of guys that they're having to pay. And it's like, they're going to have to pay. And they also re-signed Kelsey at some point. I can't remember, a couple years ago, but so.
Well, okay. This was going to be a later discussion question, but I think it fits here around Mahomes. And the question is, I think like 4 or 5 years ago, it felt like, and you guys check me if you disagree with any of what I'm getting ready to say, but it felt like 4 or 5 years ago when Mahomes was at the height of his powers, the Bengals had just drafted Joe Burrow, and Burrow was rising up to be one of the best quarterbacks. You had this, I felt like there was a perception of, if you're a professional, if you're an NFL team, the number one thing you have to do is go get the elite quarterback. Like, everybody is searching for the 1A quarterback. You need a Mahomes, you need a Burrow, you need a Josh Allen, or you need a Lamar Jackson. And I feel like, and I'm not necessarily smart enough to tell you exactly why, whether it's, this prevalence of cover 2 and just refusing to let quarterbacks and receivers beat you deep. But it feels like now, 5 years later, when you look at the best teams by record in the NFL, and you have the Broncos with Bo Nix, I do think Drake May is a very good quarterback. So I don't quite think the Patriots fit into this. But I just sense, the Packers are a team that I think fits here. The Seahawks, I just sense it doesn't feel like teams need that elite quarterback necessarily anymore. And perhaps it's more, hey, we need a really young, fast, aggressive defense. And we have to do one thing really well on offense, whether that's going to be we need to run the shit out of the ball, or we just need a quarterback that can play on time and stay within structure and move the ball. But I'm curious if you guys kind of have felt those similar things. Like, I just think philosophically, it seems like there's been a shift. And, I look at the quarterback class coming out of college, and I don't really see like an elite guy, like Mendoza's, speech and stuff notwithstanding. Like, I don't think he's on par with a Mahomes, a Burrow, a Josh Allen, but that might be okay. I guess I say all this. It's just interesting. It feels like we're seeing this shift in the NFL, and it's more like, you just need a lot of good dudes on defense, and you just got to figure out a way to score enough points on offense. And I think that's way different than where we were 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Well, I think football goes in waves, right? Like it's just like any other sport, and it goes up. It goes in phases, and the phase that we're in right now is because of so much cover two, so much quarters, like the elimination of like these massive explosive over the top plays. So now it becomes who can dominate at the line of scrimmage. So it's offensive line, defensive line, and just don't and control the game. It's not don't give the game away, right? We don't need you to make crazy plays. I mean, if you have one of those guys, it just makes it easier, right? Like Josh Allen covers up a lot of holes in that Buffalo team. Like that
100%.
Buffalo team is not that good. If you
No.
take him out of the equation, that's like a 3-win team.
With the
like,
note, the difference though with them and the Chiefs is the run game. Like
Yes.
James Cook being a like stud this year, and they can run the ball, so that takes pressure, and then that allows some improvisation from Josh Allen. But yeah, they have nobody. He's got nobody to throw it to. Like it feels like they've tried so hard to like, I don't want Dawson Knox to be a feature piece of our offense, and every week it's like, all right, we're going to Dawson Knox again. It's like, God dang it, we can't get away from him because like Shakir's not doing shit. Like, Josh Palmer's not panning out. Like he doesn't have
Keon
an actual
Coleman
receiver.
They brought back Gabe
nothing.
Davis. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, fuck, man. All right, fine. It's like how I feel my fantasy squad. Fine. I'll pick up Austin Hooper. Like here, I can't, like, what the hell? Why can't I find a tight end,
Damn, that's dire if you're picking up Austin Hooper.
Well, in years past, it's always like Austin Hooper. It's like, damn, he's on waivers again. Like, my guy's on a bye. What am I doing? Fine, I'll take him.
Poosh, to your point, like everything's cyclical. So I totally get that. I guess I just wasn't, it's taken me a little bit off guard that the cycle has turned over seemingly as quickly as it has, maybe.
Well, I think a lot of teams get stuck in the middle here, Randy. Like, I think you look at the Patriots and the Broncos. It's like, if you get a good quarterback, if you make the right bet and you get a top half quarterback on a rookie contract, then start the clock. Now you can pay for pieces and depth and invest in your defense, which I think the Broncos have done a really good job of.
The Eagles are a good example of that.
Eagles are a good example of that too. And then, or the other option here is like the Rams. You get or even the Steelers. Like, you get the last act of a Hall of Fame guy's career, like Stafford or Aaron Rodgers. Like, there's those. If the Steelers sneak into the playoffs, like because Rodgers, like he could flash pretty hard, right? Because I think what you're missing is, and what I don't want to skip over is, like, an elite quarterback in the playoffs still feels like you really want that.
It feels
you
like
really
a requisite, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like the Texans might test that theory this year. And not that CJ Stroud's a good quarterback. I actually have been high on him, maybe more high than you guys have been. But that offense just is not dynamic, right?
No.
But good Lord, that's a good defense. And I
Yeah.
guess maybe what I'm trying to say is, like, it feels like we're about to see if you can really win in the playoffs with a defense first approach. And I feel like that would have been a foreign concept 4 or 5 years ago.
Well, yeah, because you were
Or
bringing
maybe
it up.
that's just me conditioned as a Bengals fan too, where it's like the defense is always an afterthought a little bit.
I don't know if it was like 2, 3, 4 years ago, but like or maybe it was more recent than that. But the passing yards fell off a cliff recently in the NFL, and like, I don't know, maybe it was another rule change or something, but like, it used to be like Mahomes and Allen are throwing
like
for.
We were getting to the point where like everybody was going to be throwing for 5,000 yards here.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it just stopped, and now it's like, if you're playing fantasy football, you're like, man, rarely does a guy go over 300 yards. It feels like these days. So
well, that's because the change. It's the defensive change, and it's a cycle. Like I said, it was like because of the Legion of Boom. Everybody switched to cover 3, so it's like single high safety a lot, and so if you have a really awesome pass rush and like you can rush 4 guys, that works, right? And it makes them get the ball out quick, which it did for them for a long time. But if you don't have the personnel, you get the blown over the top. And so all these defenses went all over the league, right? Everybody wanted part of the Legion of Boom, all those Pete Carroll defenses, and went all over the NFL. Gus Bradley and DQ, Dan Quinn, all these guys, and then all their offshoots, and then teams were blowing them out. Like they didn't do anything, right? The defense fell off. Then everybody switched now to this kind of Then it was like the Fangio thing, and now it's just become this like cover 2 shell where it's like just don't let anybody go over the top of you, right? Like no explosives, make you dink and dunk. They'll let you run the football now, but you have to dink and dunk it down the field. And if you go back and look at like what are the teams that have won Super Bowls that had elite defenses, right? It's like the Ravens with Trent Dilfer and Flacco. The Eagles played their defensive line was dominant when Foles won the Super Bowl, and you can even say Jalen Hurts last year. I know I'm going to get like Nino's going to get really pissed off, but it's like
I'm not going to get pissed off. We'll go there.
I'm just saying that defense won that game, right? I think if you watched that football game, it wasn't like, oh wow, Jalen Hurts is really dominating this game with his arm. It's like no, they were.
But you have to say he did. He
did play well.
He played really well in that game.
Yes.
Did exactly
in a comfortable spot,
both
right?
Of those
it wasn't
things can be true.
Comfortable spot against a Chiefs defense that was not the same Chiefs defense as it had been, right? It was not the same lockdown, secondary. So, and they were just destroying Mahomes all game long. It was kind of the same thing we saw when Mahomes lost to Brady, right, in Tampa Bay, when he just didn't have the offensive line to throw the football. So I think that's the trade-off here is like you can look back and see that a defense can get you there. And even like I will say like, Brock Purdy getting to the Super Bowl and Jimmy Garoppolo to the Super Bowl on the back largely of like really, really elite defenses. And I think that like that really helps. It takes a lot of weight off of the quarterback. If you can know that you can, you don't have to take huge chances, huge swings. Offensively, you can be a lot more structured and like simple without having to do any crazy shit. And knowing that your defense is going to, you can play the field position game and win it with field goals as opposed to trying to make explosives all the time. I think that's where we are right now. It's like, that's why so many quarterbacks can be effective because teams are like, listen, we got an above average quarterback, not elite, but we can do that. And then on a rookie deal, we can invest in a really, really good defense and offensive line.
Yeah, Randy, I think that's where I'm at. It's like, you have to have an above average quarterback, but if you have to think about the contract they're on, if you want the like tier 1 guy, it's not like balls to the wall, get the tier 1 guy. It's like, there's a cost to that for sure. I think we're seeing, I think you're definitely seeing it with the Bengals and what they've been able to, spend on defense. Right. And also paying 2 receivers is like, is that can you pay 2? Like, it'll be interesting to see, like, is Dallas going to pay CD and George Pickens? It's like, it looks really good, but like, what does that cost you elsewhere on the field?
Yeah.
I mean, you're seeing it right now because they're paying Dak $60 million a year. He's the highest paid quarterback, the highest paid player in the NFL. Well, where does it fall off? It falls off on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, that's why they didn't pay Parsons, and they got Quinn Williams, a good player, but like the defense is just not good enough it's not good enough. It doesn't match up. So
it's funny because like the Texans, I think of the Seahawks too, like these teams that seem like they're really, really built for good regular seasons and such a high floor with defenses that are excellent, and they do a few things really good. At least the Seahawks, JSN is just a monster, but it's like, man, Darnold still doesn't come playoff time. I still don't think I trust Darnold. Like, I'm going to have to see him actually win some games. So yeah, this is a great discussion. Poosh, excellent insights. Neil, thank you. I feel like this is some good knowing right here.
The last thing I've thought about too is not so much like top tier quarterback, but having some type of dual threat. Like the tush push would be a dual threat, like, or Josh Allen being able to get a first down with his feet, in the snow, like same with Mahomes. And so you look at, like, you bring up Sam Darnold. It's like, he's a little one dimensional. That's what scares me. Trevor Lawrence, like, yeah, he can move around, but like, he feels a little one dimensional when you get to the playoffs. It's like, that's a quarterback that can beat you 2 ways. I think is maybe not talked about enough. If that makes sense.
They've got the dumb gene, dude. I swear, it's like that's what ties those quarterbacks together. It's like the Darnold, Trevor, like Caleb to a certain extent. Hurts kind of is displaying some early signs of the dumb gene.
The
And it's
the
like
Carson Wentz gene, the memorial
yes,
Carson Wentz
like
gene.
yes, and it's like, and I worry that Jordan Love has that gene as well because we've
Yeah.
seen it, right? Like, and that's why, to tie this all back, is
Bo Nix might
I'm
have the
waiting.
dumb gene. I would throw
Right,
Bo Nix in
Yeah.
there.
right,
Yeah.
Knicks, and
Oh God.
we worry about that happening when it matters, right? When you can't make that mistake, they throw up that one bad ball, or just make that one kind of like glitchy decision in a game that can really, in a playoff game when every possession, everything matters, can really shift the whole game, and that's what you have to worry about.
All right, guys, let me jump in here and thank another sponsor today. That is Stone Creek Coffee. Just want to give a quick shout out to our dear friends at Stone Creek Coffee, the official fuel of Ballknowers worldwide. It's gift giving season, which means it's time for a full throated PSA. Stop giving people junk. Novelty socks, they're going straight to the landfill. A gift card, congrats. You've given someone a homework assignment. If you want to give a gift that actually elevates someone's life, a gift with high-level traits, then get them some legitimately great coffee. Stone Creek Coffee holds the line there with beans roasted in Milwaukee, sourced responsibly from all over the world, from dialed-in blends to single-origin micro lots. Stone Creek's beans have more personality and gumption than the entire NFC South combined. God, Drew does such a good job with these ads. This is coffee that doesn't get regifted, doesn't get stashed in a drawer, gets brewed, savored, and deeply appreciated like a well-timed back cut or a perfectly weighted skip pass. Grab a couple bags, snag a holiday gift box, or go full baller and set someone up with a subscription so elite coffee just materializes at their doorstep every month. That's contender-style gifting, the kind of move only a true knower makes. So elevate your knowing, your watching, your chopping, and the rest of your beautiful day. Life is too short to drink bad coffee. Go to stonecreekcoffee.com. Use code NLU2025 for 15% off your first order before the end of the year. And you'll get free shipping on orders over $45. Stone Creek Coffee, they know ball, they know beans. Well, let's move on to the Eagles. We've kind of danced around them.
Sure.
That was going to be my second big story.
Sure.
Are the Eagles collapsing, or is this just a rough patch? Neil, I'll go to you. The Eagles, they have lost 3 straight as we sit here and talk. They're 8-5. They do have a bit of a soft schedule down the stretch. They get the Raiders at home. They play the Commandos twice, and then they go to Buffalo, which is obviously by far their toughest game. Do you think this is a rough patch, or do you think the Eagles season is really in trouble?
So I hate it that I've become the Jalen Hurts apologist. It was never what I was never meant to do that. I was just meant to hold you guys accountable. And you know, performance and wins and losses and how I measure it. I think he's been above average in that category. He's been everything that team has needed from him up until this season. Now, Poosh, you sent me the Chris Sims rant, which was sick.
So good.
Was that with Kevin Clark?
TC's boy. Yes, with Kevin Clark.
And I was like, man, it's hard to argue with a lot of that. Like, I'm not in the back rooms. I think.
Can you summarize that for people that haven't heard
basically,
it, Neil?
he was saying like everybody has been like egging the offensive coordinator's house and saying this is everybody's looking everywhere but the problem. The problem is the quarterback. The reason the offense is simple is because the quarterback wants it to be simple. It's been a problem with Jalen Hurts since day one. He wants to play a certain way, and he's not flexible, and he's not playing high-level football. I agree with all that. And I think the thing that Sims was saying is that, and Poosh, what you were saying earlier, is the defense has saved them in years past, and the defense is not as good as it has been. All of that is true. I think Jalen Hurts is not playing well. Now, I think he's shown flashes this year, and they still have all the weapons. So, like, they're 11-6. They're going to win the division. They're going to make the playoffs. There's a lot of experience on that team. I think the people melting down in Philly is premature. So do I think they're collapsing? No. Do I think that things like are good? Do I like watching the Eagles play football right now? No, I don't. And if it's true that like Jalen Hurts refuses to like, you know, run, like if he is making them simplify the offense, that sucks, right? I just wonder like why they can't run the ball. And Sims's point was like, oh, well, because the run scheme is so vanilla that it's just easy to stop. It's just, it is baffling to me that they can't get Saquon the ball in space or get creative with how they call plays for him, the way they're able to in Detroit, or with teams that have other high octane running backs, or in Atlanta. I think they do a really good job of getting Bijan the ball down there, even though they have a host of other issues, especially at quarterback. They get him touches, and I just don't think Saquon gets enough touches in any creative way. If Jalen Hurts has something to do with that, then I am team, Jalen Hurts stinks. I will jump ship with you guys. But up until this point, Super Bowl MVP, wins and losses, he's done everything they need to push. He's a dual threat. I think you can still win with Jalen Hurts.
Well, I think that's fair because they have won with Jalen Hurts. Obviously.
Yeah, which is what I've been arguing with you jamokes for the last 2 years. It's like, they're winning the fucking games. They won the Super Bowl. Like, what else are you looking for, right now?
Right, but I think the defense with Jalen Hurts has always been he just wins, right? He just wins. That's like everybody. Look at his record. He does this and this. It's like, well, okay, but then what happens when they stop winning, right? Then how do you defend? How do you defend the play? And he didn't. I don't think anybody thinks he played well on Monday night, right?
No,
and it's like
horrible. He turned it over twice in the same play.
It was objectively terrible. Objectively terrible.
My play of the year right there.
That was
3
sick.
total turnovers in one snap.
The stat too it bears repeating. The stat of if he had spiked the ball on every play, his QBR would be higher than it was. That's really tough.
That was really tough. Yeah. And I think the quote from Sims was that he's hijacked the offense, right? Like that's like what he said is like,
which is concerning. I'm like, and I'm a big, strong opinion loosely held here. Like if that's true, it's like, yeah, if the guy's causing problems in the locker room and nobody likes him, like then yeah, fuck that, man. Things have changed. I'll change my opinion.
But I think the biggest issue is that they can't run. They don't run I think what you said is that they don't run the football. Like that's the biggest difference between last year and this year. Like last year. Think about how many explosive plays, because in like we said earlier, and then we tied all it together here. This is some good knowing. In a world where everybody runs cover 2 or is a lot more cover 2, not everybody, but like for the most part, everybody's running a lot more cover 2. They're allowing you to middle field open. They're allowing you to run the football for the most part, right? So they want you to force you to run the ball, and they're daring them to run the ball. And they're honestly probably against the Eagles. They're probably loading the box and saying like, listen, we're going to make Jalen Hurts beat us with his arm. Like that's what you're going to have to do. And if you can't run the football in those situations and you can't make explosive happen, which they did last year, then you're relying entirely on Jalen Hurts to win with his arm. And that's not
which I think is putting him in a bad position, right?
Exactly.
Like if you go back and listen to the tape, watch the tape on this here pod. Like I honestly don't think I've said like, let Jalen Hurts air it out. Like it's like, no, he's done enough for that team to win games. I find it hard to believe, thinking back to the Sims thing. I was like, having a better run scheme, I'm not going to lay that at the quarterback's feet. Like I can't imagine he's like, no, I don't want to have like a different type of trap play. You know what I'm saying? Like if we're going to run the ball, like getting Saquon the ball in creative ways, I don't feel like that's a Jalen Hurts problem. I also think that's telling, though. I think that's telling, right? Because it's like if you have if this guy that has been proclaimed as elite, top 5, and he can't win when the run game is not completely dominant, then that says a lot about Jalen Hurts, right? Like that's kind of like Sure.
I think that's what's been the criticism from us over the years. It's like when I look at this guy, I see that he can make plays, he can throw a good deep ball. He can keep the offense running, especially if everything's working, right? Like that, he's good enough to make that go, and not good enough to win a Super Bowl with, obviously. But 2 years ago, and I brought this up 2 years ago when things weren't all working together, before Fangio joined the team, they lost like 7 straight games on the way out of the year, and then got outed by the Bucs in the first round of the playoffs because he doesn't have what it takes to make the offense run without everything else running at a high level. So that's
which I think that's a fair take.
To put some numbers on it, last year as a team, the Eagles ran for just over 3,000 yards in the regular season. Their opponents ran for 1,700 yards. So they had a massive advantage running the football. This year, as we head into week 15, the Eagles have run the football for 1,400 yards, and their opponents have run it for 1,700 yards. So, the complete deterioration of the run game, I think, has put the onus on Hurts. And now we're seeing when you put the onus on Hurts, he's just not that type of passer, right? He's just not good enough to lead the team with his arm.
I just don't understand though why they can't get him some easier throws. Like I see what, and I know the Steelers have been hot and cold, but I actually really enjoy watching their offense. And Poosh, I know you don't, but like I like the way they get the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands in the passing game. They combine this jumbo sets with the run game, and then they give him like big easy targets in the pass game to like almost like change the pitch speed a little bit. It's like it's real quick in the passing game with DK Metcalf and Mount Washington of like get him the ball quick, back shoulder stuff, like big targets. And then in the run game, it's like we're gonna run downhill with these jumbo sets. And I just don't think the Eagles are putting Hurts in a position to like get some easy throws, easy wins. So but is he playing well? No, he's not. And turning it over 5 times, it's the thing Hurts has a bad knack for is when it's bad, it looks really bad.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And it just optically is like, oh, this is ugly, man. And he doesn't do himself any favors in that category. But to his credit, like he's had really bad showings in the past. He does show a knack for bouncing back.
Yes.
So it's like
very resilient.
That's why they're 11-6. They're gonna make the playoffs. It's like I'm not ready to declare them like completely dead when I look at some of these other teams. Like I just think it's been a kind of an overreaction.
Some bad karma, and you wonder just how the whole attitude around the organization, the fan base, I do kind of think that bleeds in a little bit. But I think you're right, Neil. I think I'm not declaring the Eagles dead by any means, but it's going to be interesting these last few weeks. All right, guys, jumping in real quick to thank our last sponsor. The Trap Draw, the Ballknowers, is brought to you by FanDuel. Thursday Night Football continues to deliver, and FanDuel's keeping the energy up with their $2 million Thursday Night Football jackpot. Place an anytime touchdown scorer bet using your profit boost, and if your player scores the first or last touchdown of the game, you'll earn a share of $2 million in bonus bets. The game this week is the Falcons and Bucks. You got to think of Bijan. Anytime touchdown probably plays. Trying to think on the Bucks, maybe Bucky Irving now that he's back. Sean Tucker, vulture to TD last week. Maybe he's a dark horse for an anytime touchdown bet. But yeah, probably Bijan would be the most safe play for me. Whatever you think, head to FanDuel.com/no-laying-up to download the app and get started. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and older and present in select states, or 18 and older and present DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in. Must apply profit boost token on select market. Prize pool to be split equally among all eligible participants who made the correct first or last TD pick. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expired 21 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. All right, we'll keep moving. Let's take a look. I think there are 3 really intriguing divisions right now. The AFC South, the NFC North, and the NFC West. I would love to just quickly go through here and handicap who we think is going to eventually emerge. Poosh, why don't we start out in the NFC West, where the Rams and Seahawks are both 10-3. Your Niners are 9-4. I'm not just needling you. I think based on the body of
Randy,
work,
not to cut you off. Sorry, I was looking at the projected standings when I was saying 11-6 with the Eagles. But
yeah,
sorry, 8-5. I just want to correct the record. I had the wrong button toggled there.
They should win 3 out of their last 4 games, and then that Bills game will be a toss-up. So Poosh, I was going to say, It feels like the Niners are a tier below the Seahawks and Rams. I guess I would first like your reaction to that. And then which of those three teams do you think is going to eventually emerge on top of the NFC West here in a few weeks?
Well, yeah, okay. So it's a very, I think it's a very interesting division. I think, when you look at the teams, obviously the Niners is split with the Rams, and they beat Seattle in Week 1 in Seattle. They play again on Week 18, which was going to be a massive game. The Rams and the Seahawks play each other in 2 weeks. That's going to be a big game. So right now, it's honestly anybody's division. It kind of comes down to that. The Niners' schedule on the way out much more favorable than Seattle and the Rams. So the Niners have the Titans, the Bears, the Colts, and then they play Seattle in Week 18. I don't know if that was the right order, but the Colts obviously losing Daniel Jones,
that's tough.
Pretty much makes them a non-factor, right?
You
That's
don't
really
believe
tough.
in Phillip Rivers?
I mean, losing Sauce Gardner, like that is just a huge blow because
the draft picks, and it's
yeah.
my
It's
God,
nightmare scenario for the
I mean,
Colts.
what? It's Phillip Rivers. You're telling me there's nobody else in the last 5 years that we can go work out other than Phillip Rivers, who has 10 kids?
It's insane.
I mean, what are we talking about?
He's older than me.
I know.
He's older than me. He's 44 years old. Like,
what are we doing? I just don't. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I wear a boot. I have a ruptured plantar fascia, and like that dude's gonna go out there and run around and throw footballs in an NFL game like this weekend. That's psychotic. He has like 28 children. Anyway, so the I would say objectively that the Rams are the best team in the division. I think that they're scary. To me, they look like a legitimate Super Bowl team. I'm less afraid of the Seahawks because I don't trust Darnold, and I think they're fairly one-dimensional on offense. The Niners, I think they're probably the second best team in the NFC West. I think legitimately because there's just something about this team, okay? And there's something about this team where the defense is obviously statistically they're not great, but they're over the last few weeks they're one of the top teams in points allowed, so they're not giving up points. They're number 2 in special teams in the NFL, which going from like being one of the worst special teams for almost all of Kyle's tenure as a coach to being one of the best special teams teams in the league. It's made a huge difference. I mean, they've won games because of teams essentially in the year of #teams. And on offense, we're getting healthier, right? We got healthier through the year. Purdy's playing solid. The offensive line is playing well. So obviously there's a lot
being healthy is a huge boost. Like huge. Yeah.
And Jennings getting healthy.
And Kittle. I mean, Kittle was out for 6-7 games.
And it's just like the offensive line got healthy too. I think people were overlooking. We were starting the 7th round rookie at left guard. That was a problem. And it's just things are starting to kind of come together. It just feels like a team that is really they believe they're winning in all kinds of. They've won in every different kind of way you can win. Very scrappy team. A trap game in Cleveland last week that felt like a game that they would normally go in there and lose, and they've lost to Cleveland for like 20 years. They went in there and really just took the game by the horns and won it and kind of blew them out. And that was like, okay, this is kind of a different thing going on here. So
I don't disagree with anything you're saying, Poosh, but just like you I just got a feeling about this team. It's like, what? Because you rooted for him since you were born? Like,
I think there's a general feeling. If you go look around and you see
they are under the radar.
There's players that are speaking on it that are not have nothing to do with the organization, and they're all kind of chiming in and saying, listen, this is they believe in Kyle. Essentially, he's coaching his ass off this year. Like he has a different lightness about him this year. It's not as heavy, and there's not this underlying anger that in all the pressers. He's just lighter. It just feels like losing that Super Bowl and having last year where it just kind of things fell apart, changed things. Listen, I'm not going to go out and say that they're better than the Rams. I just say that the way that the schedules fall out, the Rams could potentially lose to Detroit. The Rams could potentially lose to Seattle. The Niners, it could come down to Week 18 at home against Seattle in a game that we could win for sure. I think we can beat Seattle. So If that happens and the Niners leap to the first round bye, that changes things, and home field advantage. That massively changes the whole perspective of what's happening. You win 2 games to get into the Super Bowl.
I mean, just wild to see the percentage projections. Niners 95% chance to make the playoffs, Seahawks 99%, Rams 99%. So like probably the strongest division in football. I don't think there's, I think you could argue the AFC West has some depth to it as well, but
the NFC North is
NFC
pretty
North
strong.
Yeah.
I think that's a strong division, and obviously, like you're going to see one of the see these teams in the playoffs. Whether or not you're going to be going to them or playing them at home. But I think the NFC West is the strongest division, and I think the Rams are probably the best team. But as we know in football, things can change. Who knows? Injuries. Sometimes the best team doesn't win. So that's just how it goes.
I would say this about the Niners. I love Salah. I think he's doing a lot with a not the best roster on defense, but
Rookies.
that guy knows how to coach ball, and it feels like with him back in that locker room, like the defense just plays hard when he's at the helm.
We signed Cleveland Farrell off the street like 3 weeks ago, and he's had like 6 sacks in 3 weeks, and was like the player of the week. It's like, I mean, we're pulling dudes off that were sitting at home like 3 weeks ago, and they're playing well. So I mean, it really is he's really done an amazing job. Once we lost Fred Warner, after we lost Bosa, I thought the season was over. I was like, okay, season's over probably. And it's like he's managed to keep things really moving.
No, you're 2 dudes right out for the year. Who I gotta say, my biggest concern with the Niners is Purdy. In the limited times I've watched, I've watched him throw some bad interceptions. I just, I know he's been a little banged up, but like, how do you feel really good about Purdy? Poosh, like honestly.
Well, here's the thing. So week 1, Purdy is an aggressive quarterback. You're just gonna live and die with that. Like, yes, he threw 2 picks at Seattle. We still won the game. One of them was pretty bad. When he came back and had that game against Jacksonville, he was hurt, like 100%. You could just tell the ball was coming off weird, a lot of high passes. And then when he came back against, he looked good against the Cardinals. And then on that Monday night game, the thing is everybody sees it when on primetime when he's had his 2 worst like kind of games of football. It was last couple years ago when he was in the MVP contention against the Ravens when he threw 4 picks on a Monday night game. That was, everybody, then he, that just shifted everyone's perception again. And then he had 3 picks against Carolina, cleaned it up in the second half. They still won the game. Obviously the defense was the big, winner in that game, but then he went to Cleveland and played clean and in a really, really tough game. The wind was whipping. The ball was coming off nice. I think, we've seen Purdy, what he can do if he plays well. Like he obviously last year it was to me, you can't really judge it. Last year, it was just a weird year where we didn't have McCaffrey. We didn't have a lot of guys. It was a lot of, we lost Ayuk. We lost kind of the offensive. It was a lot of drop back and changing in the offense. So I don't
worry about him in a shootout. Like you bring up the Cleveland game. It's like, I think the weather's beneficial because like nobody's, it's going to limit the offense. And it's like with Purdy, to me, it's like, sure, super processor, like reads the field well, but like kind of a small dude. So if he's a little banged up, it's like, I don't know if this sports car needs to go back in the shop. Like it doesn't feel like he's going to be able to get you out of trouble if you get off schedule the way some of these other elite guys are.
But that's his thing though, is he's way better off schedule than like a Mac Jones is. And that's what, when people say, oh, well, Mac Jones is playing such a high level, it was like, well, Purdy does all the things that Mac Jones does, but he also can work off schedule. Like he can break the pocket, he can run.
Well, I wasn't comparing to the Mac Jones. I'm comparing to
I'm just
other quarterbacks that are starting in the league.
My comparison, there are certain guys, this is a basketball thing, I think, but there are almost certain guys where if they make a couple of threes early in the game, like I'm watching the Kings right now, and Russ Westbrook is an example, where it's like, it's almost a bad thing because they're just going to keep shooting threes the rest of the game. And I feel like Brock's the type of guy, it's like, I'd just rather him play a bit more like the 7th round Mr. Irrelevant draft pick than like I'm the guy with the big contract, I'm QB1. Like he's got a little bit of like, let's just turn that confidence down a little bit, Brock. I'm not sure you're going to make every throw you think you're going to make, but
I think that's definitely true. I think, but I think that the reason why Kyle likes him is because he does have that aggressiveness in him. It's like Kyle's going to scheme guys up. Like he's, arguably the best in the game at scheming guys open. And he got to know that when you get those chances that your guy's going to take it and hit the guy, make the right read, which in that Carolina game, all three of those interceptions were the correct read. He just put the ball in the wrong place. And it's like, yeah, you're coming back from like 6 or 7 weeks off from not playing football. The Carolina defense is pretty good. It's like, it's actually an underrated defense. He put both the balls were just behind. They just were inaccurate balls, which is usually he's a lot better at that. So, you just have to trust that he's going to clean it up. I mean, we're going to see it to the end of the year. I think it massively depends on what the next 4 weeks look like. And obviously, if Purdy goes into the playoffs hot and goes into the playoffs playing efficient ball and not turning the ball over, I'm confident. Obviously, if things change and he continues to make bad decisions or throwing weird, inaccurate balls, then you're worried, right? Because then that changes things. We're not winning if that happens. I'll just say that.
I do think those NFC West teams are. I do think they are the most a 1 seed would be the most advantageous for the NFC West teams, like a Brock Purdy, right? If he's playing on a good field out in San Francisco, the Bay Area, like I think that's good. I don't necessarily want Brock going to Green Bay or going to Philly in some conditions, right? I feel the same way about the Rams, and I honestly think the Seahawks, would be hugely beneficial for them to play their playoff games at home. Whereas the Packers, I think, are more built. They can play in any conditions, anywhere. I think the Eagles, when they're right, they can go anywhere and kind of play any style of football. But I do think that 1 seed for whoever emerges on top of the NFC West could be pretty crucial come playoff time.
Who do you guys think?
Let's go.
I was going to ask, just more general, who's the best team in football for you guys right now?
That's a great question.
I still think it's the Rams, but
yeah,
they scare me the most out of any team.
That's probably the right answer.
I mean, I love the way this Rams team's constructed. I give them so much credit for like selling the farm to win that Super Bowl and then not having to do a full rebuild and just wringing the towel of every bit of value out of Stafford. And yeah, Puka doesn't get enough love. I mean, he's got to be the best receiver in football right now, and I still don't think anybody like acknowledges that. He's just like he's so fucking crafty, man. He just catches everything. And then their defense is like, I don't think the defense gets enough credit. It's just a really solid football team. Now, an injury to Stafford, they feel a little thin where like you could have a critical injury, but you could say that about any of these teams. But I guess what I'll say there, Poosh, is I'll give the Niners credit. They've had some massive injuries this year, and they've had guys out for extended periods of time, and they're staying in the hunt. So I think Kyle and the Niners deserve credit there. And
I mean, if you look at their who they've lost to the Jags with in Week 4. They lost at Tampa Bay early. They lost at Houston, and then they lost to the Rams. So those are the 4 teams that they've lost to. They mostly beat all the teams that they should beat, right? So
I want to say the Patriots are the best team, but that feels a little premature. I can't wait to watch this Bills Patriots game.
I know.
Like, can they do it again? Like, prove it. You got to prove it to me one more time because you guys are so new. But man, that's an exciting stuff going on in Foxborough.
They just don't have the quality of win, in my opinion. That
easy schedule for sure.
That the Rams would have. I really like the Packers. I think that depends on what you think about Jordan Love, is whether they would be the best team or not. But I feel like they're going to be a tough out come the playoffs.
I worry. The only thing I worry about the Packers is that offensive line. Like, I worry about them not being able to run the ball well enough in the playoffs, because it's like Jordan Love can bail you out, and then, like I said, it's just that dumb gene kind of hits, and he makes one or two bad throws, and it just changes things. But the defense is really good. Yeah, the defense is really good.
And before we move on, Randy, can we just get a little bit of ball heavy love? I mean, guys got no tackles. I mean, they got no O-line, and they just keep winning games. You know, probably gonna sneak into a wild card spot. Like, I just like.
That was a fun Monday night game against the Eagles. That was
like the Chargers just won't go away. It's great.
Yeah, those defenses were hitting,
and we might be trending towards another Jaguars Chargers first round game, which would be would watch that one.
Yeah,
a lot of context there.
Well, I guess real quick, who do you guys think is going to come out of the NFC North? I guess I'm not a Bears believer, and we saw them drop the game last week. Like, I think it's the Packers division. I guess the more intriguing race is, do you think the Bears can hold off the Lions for that last wild card spot, or do you think, like, I really think Detroit's the better team.
I do really too, Randy. That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's like, what are my eyes deceiving me? Because like every time I turn on a Lions game, I'm like, whoa, these guys are like, they got so much talent. I feel like they're playing well, and then they just don't win. But like Jahmyr Gibbs might be the scariest guy in the NFL. The guy's like, he's a freak. And then Montgomery, like the 1-2 punch they have running the ball. St. Brown continues to be a stud. Jamison Williams is like the fastest guy. Like, they have probably the two fastest guys in the NFL on their offense, with a very, very capable quarterback.
Losing Brian Branch was a big injury. Like, that changes that defense though on the back end, because he kind of held that whole the secondary together. And they obviously play the run very, very well. They're big and physical up front, and they have guys that can rush the passer. But then I think the weakness of that team is the secondary, obviously, and losing Branch is kind of like the linchpin of that whole thing. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. I think the Packers are obviously the best team. The Packers' schedule is a little crazy because they play the Broncos, and then they have to play the Bears, Ravens, and then Vikings. So,
God, what
those Bears Vikings games are on the road, which
Vikings have
been a
been
bit of element.
Stinky.
JJ McCarthy. Woo. PU.
Man. Yeah, gross.
Nine.
Odorous.
Well, I guess
I'll say though, Randy, I'm with you 100% on the Lions. Like, if I didn't look at any standings, if I just went off of like watching Red Zone and how I kind of watch football, it's like the Lions jump off the screen at me. And if you told me and I hadn't looked at anything, I'd be like, who's winning? Like, who's leading the AFC North? I'd be like, oh, the Lions. Like, eye test wise, they strike me as the best team, but like, I'm not going to argue they're 8-5. Like, they're clearly not.
No, the Packers clearly have something with the Lions. They beat them twice. I still think Detroit, though, like, I think they're live if they do get into the playoffs. I don't think any team necessarily wants to see the Lions.
Well, here's the thing: the Lions, if they sneak in, they're not going to be at home, right? So, and they're most likely in the AFC, they're probably going to go play somewhere outside. And so then you have Goff in an outdoor game, which he's historically terrible in. So, I mean, they're built the right way. I like the way that the Lions are built, right? They built from the inside out, like big lines, big physical team. They can run the football. I like the way they're built, but
I got to give the Bears credit. I don't love Caleb, and I don't love the way it looks, but then, I get my guy Film Watcher breaking down the run schemes, and it's high level stuff the way they run the football. So
Johnson does good stuff. Yeah, he does. And the defense has come on a little bit since, I mean, they were dreadful earlier in the year, but
I didn't realize that I missed all that press conference beef from the beginning of the year with LaFleur. And I was like, ooh, that was a frosty handshake at the end of that game. And I don't really like Johnson. I'm not really into his, like,
he's a bit much for my taste,
but
well.
Like, hey, he's getting it done. I mean, turning around that franchise this year, that's impressive.
He's got main character energy, as the kids say. I think that's his deal. He's
a little bit like TC's boy Liam Cohen down in Jax.
I would agree with that.
The same cloth, a little bit
They're
okay,
McVay disciple, or he's a McVay disciple.
Hey,
But I will say that
don't. McVay doesn't do that. McVay doesn't do that. They didn't learn that from
a
McVay.
little bit. He's Bill Hollywood. I will say this: the Niners play. So the Bears schedule. They have the Browns this weekend. That should be a win. Then they have the Packers, the Niners, and then the Lions. So it's like basically everything to play for in the last like 3 weeks of the season.
I hope that Lions game week 18 that very well
should
could
matter.
Be a playing game.
Yeah, should be.
That could be a ton of fun. Well, I guess then real quick, AFC East, Neil, I'm guessing you like the Patriots this week against the Bills. I think I do too. I just think New England's a more complete football team, and I don't think the difference between Josh Allen and Drake May is to the point where I would lean Bills for any reason. Like I think the Patriots get it done this week and win the AFC East.
Yeah, I want to see it. Because you do have Allen involved, but couldn't agree with you more. Just that the way the business-like and tactical detonation of the Giants, and I know Giants are one of the worst teams in the league, but like the Patriots just feel like a good humming operation. Like Vrabel is everything I thought he was.
All credit to Vrabel, man.
And they got young guys, Travion Henderson, they're finally giving him the ball. And it just feels like they've got like fundamentally sound guys on defense too. Like they just feel like a really good across the board football team.
It feels like a lot like the Titans teams that with Tannehill that would get to the playoffs and kind of like run out of gas like in the like divisional round because they just didn't quite have the talent. It feels like that, but they have more juice, and I think
they might have the quarterback. Like
right, they might have the guy.
Like, they might not have Tannehill. They might have like a future Hall of Famer.
Oh no, he's definitely better than Tannehill.
It's really something.
But what I will say about that team that I'm slightly concerned about is the lack. I don't think they have like a guy on like outside of May on offense. You know what I mean? It's kind of like who is it that they're gonna. Who's the like what guy are they going to when it's like a must have moment in the playoffs? Like I need to get 3rd and 11 for the game. Like who are we going to? Is it like Keyshawn Booty or is it like does it Diggs? Like who's like partying with Cardi B in the club? Like who?
No, I hear you there. I think May has really made those receivers look good, like by just hitting him in stride. Doesn't make him work too hard, which it might be a little harder in the playoffs. That's very fair.
Yeah, it's probably a lot to this is going to be Drake May's first playoff experience. Like it's probably a bit much to expect them to really make a deep run. Like I'm not saying they can't, but it's May in the playoffs. It's just going to be a different animal. And I think that'll be interesting.
It feels like that's a team where they maybe make it to the divisional or maybe even they go further and they make it to the championship game and then they lose. And it feels like next year they're like everybody's darling. Yeah. They sign a couple of free agents because they got May on a rookie deal. They get some guys like they
definitely ahead of schedule.
They were trying to go get Ayuk last offseason, so it's like they're trying to get one more guy, right? And it's like you get another weapon, you get maybe someone else, you draft some guys on defense, then you become a really scary proposition for like 2 more years with May under the rookie contract. So
who do you guys like more, the Broncos or the Patriots? Because I think it's pretty clearly the Patriots, in my opinion. I think the Broncos are living a charmed
They've pulled so much out of their ass.
Hints of the Chiefs last year, right? Where it's just like, man, every single thing. I guess except for like losing that Colts game the second week of the year on that like missed field goal, kind of whatever. But God, since then they just win one possession games. Like it's crazy.
Defense is fun to watch. I love Poosh. I'm sorry that you guys lost Lufanga, or what's the safety's name?
Yeah.
God, I love the way that guy plays. Just defense, top to bottom, is so good. And then, but Randy, it's more of an exercise in like, is Bo Nix's stupidity going to win out over Sean Payton's genius, or the other way around? But like, I don't like betting against Payton, man. That guy's a
he's good. He's good.
Coach.
He wins games.
Yeah.
And Vance Joseph is really good. I mean, that defense is good, right? Like, I tend to be more of a believer in the Broncos than the Patriots right now, and that's
Mm.
purely because I think what the Broncos have beat legitimately good teams, right? Like they're playing in a tough division, and they have multiple quality wins under their belt, and I think that's a big home field advantage. Like Mile High is just hard to play at for other teams. Like
Yeah.
going in there at the elevation, and you're playing against this like really, really elite, like top level defense with guys that are, guys on all the levels that can play. They have really, really good linebackers. They have Benito and guys that can rush the passer extremely well. And they have guys on the back end with Sertan and Hufanga. Like that's a really good defense. And so they're running the ball. So it's like now they're running the ball with Harvey. It feels like that's it's like they have weapons. They have Sutton. They have guys that can. It just feels like a team that is built for the playoffs. And if you were saying the Patriots are either going to Denver or depending on how that shakes out, if they go into Denver like that, I think you're worried about it. We're worried about that team.
I think I agree with you, and they have a stronger home field advantage. They played a tougher schedule, and of all the between the Patriots and the Broncos, who has the best like unit? Definitely the Broncos defense is like the creme de la creme in that matchup. But I'm just not really, other than like Peyton scheming it up, like I'm not scared of their offense, and I'm actually scared they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. Because they're just the offense is a bit of a liability is what I've seen on, in watching them this year.
I think what's super fun though is the AFC with the Chiefs being dead and the Ravens, probably missing the playoffs. Like the AFC is more open this year than I can ever remember it, and I cannot wait to.
And God, what a miss it would be if Josh Allen doesn't get it done.
Right, and that's where I was going.
I mean, go down the list: like, Broncos, Patriots, Jaguars, Steelers, Chargers, and then the Bills, and then the Texans. It's like if you parachuted me in, I hadn't watched anything since last season, I'd be like, oh my God, yeah, give me Josh Allen. Just gonna run to the Super Bowl, But like, I don't trust that Bills team at all.
Right. Like
he's got to do it all himself. This is his best freaking chance at it, man. He doesn't have to deal with any like of the legacy BS of like, oh, can he beat Lamar? Oh, Patrick Mahomes. There's like none of that narrative is there. It's like, this is your shot, dude. And then if they don't get it done, like you got to. They're
going to be looking up at the Patriots.
Well, you got to give me somebody other than McDermott up there. You got to change something. I don't think we're changing the quarterback.
Stinks.
Yeah. All right. How about we're kind of dancing around it, but in your opinion, how would you handicap Coach of the Year? Who do you think's done the best job?
I mean, it's Vrabel for me. Easy answer.
I'm biased, but I think it's Kyle. Kyle, it's got to be Kyle, dude. Like nobody's dealt with the level of like turnover and injuries that the Niners have dealt with. If Vrabel loses Drake May for 6 or 7 games in this year, are they even in the same conversation?
I don't know. Maybe your point with like Tannehill, like what he did in Tennessee for years. Like,
dude, the Patriots.
That was a dumpster fire that he walked into. I mean, a dumpster fire.
There's no way if they lost, if you look at who the 49ers lost, losing your best edge rusher, the quarterback of your defense, all pro players, having 2 of your wide receivers injured for a large portion of the year. Your George Kittle was injured for the first 5 games. Or 6,
I'm not arguing. I agree with you. Kyle's done a good job.
Purdy missed 6 or 7 games, right? The starting quarterback. It's like it was crazy, right? That's crazy. The job to keep them in the hunt, to keep them playing despite all these things, and the flipping of the teams, the hiring of Saleh. Listen, to me, he should have won it in a few years ago, like multiple times with the job that he did, and he never gets credit for it because it's like he's just one of those guys. He's probably never going to win a Coach of the Year.
No,
I don't think he's going to win.
Plenty of credit. I agree.
I think this is his best
curve though, because he's been around so long.
I think this is his best coaching year. I think this is his best coaching year that he's had of all the years.
I think that can be true.
I
and also
wholeheartedly
there's no way Vrabel's not winning coach of the year.
But I totally agree. I don't think he's going to win. But I'm just saying, like, if the 49ers get first place in the NFC and they get the first place bye, like, that's a tough. I mean, with that kind of like the kind of injuries and things that they dealt with, that's really tough.
Yeah, we got a lot. We got a lot of things to uncover before, but like now, I think it's Vrabel. Like, and just in how they vote for this, like rookie coach. Oh my God, look, he turned it around. Like they won the division. Like that's that's like a Hallmark movie. Easy answer. I think Baugh deserves to be in the conversation. Randy, heavy Baugh, not Baugh zero.
No. I think D'Amico Ryan deserves to be in the conversation. You talk about he's had Davis Mills out there quite often this year.
Nobody believes in Trevor and the Jaguars. Liam Cohen's probably gonna campaign for it.
Oh God, that is tough.
What do you guys think? Now TC's not here. There's a bit of a safe space. Do you buy I think the Jaguars are pretty paper tigery to me.
For sure.
Congrats
on the record. I think they're going to make the playoffs. They don't scare me in the least.
I don't even think TC would disagree with that, honestly, because it comes back to Trevor. Like, you're not trusting that guy in the playoffs. Like, you can't. Like, I don't know if you are, you're semi delusional, because
I'm impressed with the Jags' defense.
They turn the ball over like an incredible amount. It's
so like, no, thank you. I don't trust
defense.
It at all.
I'm saying the defense turns the ball over a lot. Like, the defense gets so many turnovers. It's crazy.
And I feel like, they're fundamental. I feel like they thump people. I like their defense, and I think their defense has won them a lot of games while, like, Liam Cohen sits in the spotlight with his scheme stuff. It's like, and I don't like Brian Thomas Jr. is like, I think I'm like, okay, like, when's he going to like break out? Everyone says he's like
Myers is good.
Yeah. Myers has been good. I mean, and Trevor just like, God, it's just, there's something missing. I think the Jags, does anybody believe in them? No. I think that's very valid. So, like, do I agree with Lawrence's statement? It's like, no one's talking about you guys, but like, I don't think you've earned anybody to talk about you.
I think Houston is the team out of that division that scares almost everybody. I think that defense is just so, it's an equalizer. Like, no matter what they do, like, they're going to be in every single game, especially in the playoffs. And that's how they've won that's how they've been effective, is when they sneak into the playoffs every year. It seems like everyone counts them out. They sneak in, and then they always win they win the wild card, because they just have the defense just like can just change the game. And it's like, this defense is better than the defenses that they've had the last couple years. So it's a really scary team to see in the playoffs, especially if they win the division. You got to go see them in Houston. That is sketchy.
I will give Jags have some statement wins. I mean, beating the Chiefs, beating the Niners, they're like, but Randy, it's if we're going off eye test, which I know you love same way I feel about the Lions, where I'm like, I look up, I'm like, how are they 8-5? I'm like, I look at the Jags and I'm like, what the hell? Like, when did they win all these games? And it's like, oh, you go back, you're like 9-4. Like, huh? Yeah. So it just like it doesn't pass my eye test when I watch them.
The Colts are dead. We don't have to talk about them.
It's a shame, a tragedy, man. I just feel bad for him, And Jonathan Taylor, like, stud, but like, I mean, just pushed all the chips in and got like crushed on the flop or on the river. It's like, no, that's not good.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine pushing the chips in with Daniel Jones at quarterback. But
and then now you're gonna have to like, what do? You don't have the draft picks to get a quarterback,
right?
And so you're gonna have like, what do you just like re-sign him to like the same deal and just kind of see, like, we see how that goes with Cousins. I mean, he's Daniel Jones probably 30.
Yeah, and it's late in the year. Achilles. Having the Achilles happen like this late in the year, that just it's gonna push it like right up until.
It sucks. Yeah. And then your boy Anthony Richardson getting his eye popped out or whatever.
No, but see, I always hated that draft pick. That felt like a waste to me. Like, Anthony Richardson's not. No. He's not going to be an NFL quarterback. Daniel Jones is 28. Like, it's
okay. Not as old as I thought. I was impressed
think-
with him this year. I thought he was playing really well. It was starting to look not as good the last 3 or 4 weeks, but
to the Colts' credit, like I just got done saying the AFC is like more wide open than I can ever remember. So maybe this year was the year to push him in, and it was just extremely, extremely bad luck with the Sauce Gardner injury and now the Daniel Jones injury. Like it just didn't work out.
Well, here's the thing
Simple as
though.
that.
Here's the thing is that what that does actually in their benefit, it's that now when they negotiate his net contract, because I think he's out of contract or has 1 year or something, they're going to win the bargaining because he's injured. So it's like they don't have to pay him they don't have to extend him by this massive deal. They can just be like, here, we'll give you a 1 year deal. And
I know it's just got to be stuck in purgatory then, where you're not like closing the door completely. Can I say this? I mean, maybe a hot take here. I think Sauce Gardner is one of those overrated players in the NFL. I like him. He likes golf. I watched a lot of him playing for the Jets. Homeboy does not like to hit. I just think he's overrated. I don't think he's as locked down. I think his name being Sauce helps a ton just with branding. Truly, I think he's a nice guy. I want to root for him, but I was like, I just don't think he's like a game changer. And so that trade got all these headlines. I'm like, I've kind of thought Sauce was overrated for a while. And, so him getting hurt sucks. And I'm not saying he's bad. I just think he's overrated. Like, I don't think he's the game changer everybody thinks he is.
So the sauce is too viscous for your liking.
Yeah, it's more of a juice. Doesn't have as much staying power. It's less of a sauce, more of a juice. Juice Gardner.
A jus.
Yeah, it's a jus. That's well said. A jus Gardner.
Jus Gardner.
I was flabbergasted.
Be careful with the pronunciation there. It could come off something else, but
I was flabbergasted. The guy has 3 career interceptions.
Randy, I mean, it's like, yes, it's, oh my God. But every announcer's like, oh, they got Sauce on the outside. I'm like, what?
Well, PFF grades him out.
He's got a cool name, but he's not really that good, and he does not like to tackle. He doesn't. You can see it. Like I'm from even my football days, like watching film, you're like, you can tell like which teammates like want to hit and who doesn't. It's like Sauce doesn't want to hit anybody. He really doesn't.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap things up here. Do we need to appreciate? We were texting each other this weekend. I don't know what you even want to do, but we just got to appreciating the jumbo package.
Well, all right, I'll set this up.
Do you want to set this one up, Neil? I was like, I'll throw it on the agenda.
And he said, like, he aesthetically hates the Steelers offense. And he said he hates Arthur Smith.
Arthur Smith, which I'm with you on that.
I think on paper, as somebody that, an Atlanta fan, I watched a lot of Arthur Smith offense. I wholeheartedly understand it's not aesthetically pleasing. He likes big humans. But what I appreciate about Arthur Smith is that as the league tries to spread out, I like that he has gone with like big personnel, and I like the jumbo packages and the massive tight ends and what he's trying to do with Aaron Rodgers. Like traditionally Aaron Rodgers wants to like get super spread out and like just air it out. And I kind of like that. It feels like those two are working well together in these big jumbo packages, run the ball. Gainwell's pretty good. And then like quick passing game for the old man, Aaron Rodgers, like get the ball out of his hands quickly with like big personnel. I like the change up. I appreciate that Arthur Smith in his offensive philosophy, he tends to zag as the league zigs. That's my take there. Whether or not you like the way it looks, I totally understand if you don't like the way it looks. I want you to appreciate it though.
I don't think it's as much of a zig or a zag as you think, because it's like we're saying, like with everybody running cover 2, like the kind of thing to do is run the football, or they're daring you to run the football. What I don't love about it is it just feels toothless, and it just feels like you have to do so much to get that offense rolling. And when you have an Aaron Rodgers, I think most of that quick game stuff is probably just Rodgers anyway, calling it. It's not. I don't think that
just cannon at the line.
I swear, I think that's what he's always done. Right? It's like it's this Rodgers quick game. I don't know if it's a can system or if he's just gonna kill whatever it is. We can talk to Matt Ryan about that. But what I just don't love is like Jaylen Warren and Gainwell are like scat back kind of players, right? They're not big physical runners. You don't have Derrick Henry or like, these big physical runners behind the ball. And then they're trying to run jumbo with these guys. And it's like, sure, it's like Jaylen Warren's a fine player, like, and he's strong and he's like, he's a good little back, but like I just don't like that. It just feels like that offense. It's like they're relying on DK Metcalf having to chuck one over the top to him, and that's like the only way they're going to beat you. Like who are the other options? Like Darnell Washington. He's literally like
Watson. No,
Calvin Austin.
Calvin Austin, a third.
3.0.
Wilson.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. Just for me, I think what really bothered me about Arthur Smith was when the rookie year when they had Bijan, and he just couldn't figure out how to get Bijan
Trust
going.
me, man. I got a lot of issues with what he did in Atlanta. Yeah. But what I have liked was the roster construction. He has he goes after big receivers. He likes big personnel. And I think maybe just on paper, I like the idea of it. I don't have a problem with throwing a scat back behind that, getting lost behind the line. But, they didn't. Yeah, he did not utilize Bijan the way he should have.
I don't. Yeah, and it just feels when I watch Pittsburgh games, it's like my brain just like melt. I feel like I'm watching paint dry. It's just so boring and like.
Where do you stand on the Tomlin stuff? I think that's such bullshit. Like Tomlin should get fired. I'm like, man.
I think the Steelers fans are so sick of. There's such a slim margin between their floor and their ceiling, and they've been in this space now for like a decade. I think they're just sick of having no hope of winning a Super Bowl, and yet they can't bottom out to really reset the roster through the draft.
I think that's got to be it, right? It's like you either have to do one or the other. It's like you either have to push all your chips in and be overload, or you need to fall off enough so that you get a top 10 pick. And it's like they've just been so consistently like middle that you can't do one or the other, and then you're trapped in that middle because you're not getting a high enough draft pick to get a really I
don't know. Come down to Atlanta, hang out. Like I'll take 9-7 winning the division every 2 or 3 years over what the fuck I got to deal with.
But look at the Patriots, right? You're really great for this long period of time, and then you're bad for a few years, and you get enough draft picks where you can go get a Drake May, you can go get some real difference makers, and then all of a sudden you're good again, right? Like you put the right things together. But it's like if you're just always 9-9 and you're always like right in the middle, like you're in.
I don't know. I think there's something to be said, like being able to at least sneak into the playoffs.
9-8, sorry.
Not having a losing record, sneak into be competitive every year, and then can you go on a run in the playoffs? Like you could sign me up for that as if I could trade the Falcons, last 20 years with the Steelers, I'd do it.
I think that's a different discussion, but I think Steelers fans just look at the roster and just know that at best we're going to get into a wild card game, and like maybe at best we're going to win a wild card game, but we have no chance of getting to a conference championship.
But I don't really lay that at Tomlin's feet. Like
I don't.
What? That's a GM. That's a front office problem. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like he's always done. Like he kind of maximizes the potential of like a lot of boring teams where you're like, oh yeah, they got
I agree with that.
And like nobody else.
I totally agree with you there.
Like I think he's a great in-game coach. Like when I look around the league at like if it's binary, competent or not competent, I can't think of a time where I was like Mike Tomlin wasn't competent. And there's a lot of incompetence in NFL coaching right now.
Totally.
On that note, I'm thrilled that Stefanski's getting de-pantsed up in Cleveland. That guy winning Coach of the Year twice. That guy's been a fucking fraud since he got there. I don't think Stefanski's good. He's gotten so much love.
That guy may have just been ahead of his time. When we were doing the NFL has shifted, like what the Browns, when they were good, when he won Coach of the Year, they had a baller defense and they just ran the shit out of the ball with Nick Chubb. Right. Yeah. Like, I feel like that's a good formula right now if you can harness it, but their quarterback position is that much of a disaster. And I don't think their offensive, like, I don't think they're a good,
like, I don't think he's helping. He's not doing more with less the way Tomlin has. That's kind of the point I'm trying to make. It's like, you got a Stefanski that gets all his credit the last 5 years. And I'm like, man, I think Tomlin's getting graded on an unfair curve here. Like, don't panic yet, Pittsburgh. You guys are going to make the playoffs. Like, let's see what happens,
Yeah. Anyway. They just need it. Ever since, Ben Big Ben the last few years, he was a shell of himself. And then you go to like Pickett, Trubisky, and Rudolph, and you're trying to make and now you're bringing in 40 whatever year old Aaron. Like it's just they got to figure something out at that quarterback position.
You're right about that. Like that's just, but that's to me again.
But
like,
I think it's a credit to Tomlin that you can still win 9-10 games a year, even with
hasn't had like
quarterback.
Think about the quarterbacks you just named, and then cross-reference with that with he's never had a losing record. I'm like, that's really good.
No, I think that's obviously objectively like true. I think the issue a lot of the times is like what is the direction of the team, right? Like where is it going? It doesn't feel like it feels like it's on a straight path as opposed to there's an obvious vision of where this team's headed with youth infused with youth. It's like the trading for Aaron Rodgers is like it feels like we have the roster to win it all. We just need to go get a QB. Let's go get Aaron Rodgers. It doesn't feel like, you know what I mean? Like, we're investing for the next like 3 or 4 years, and we're gonna like build this roster.
I think that's like to shout out our boy Chris Sims. Like, I think we're looking at the wrong person. You know, like that doesn't to me like sure Tomlin has personnel. I'm sure he's very involved in personnel stuff. So like maybe he deserves some blame for it. But I feel like the on-field coaching is good still. Like I wouldn't. Yeah. You know, they have looked bad. They've been hot and cold. They've looked horrible at times this year.
They're like Hurts. When they look bad, they're bad.
Yeah.
And then they kind of figure it out.
But then they look really good against the Ravens. I'm like, damn, I don't want to see
it might be
Steelers in the
I'm
playoffs.
with you, Neil. It could be a bit of a be careful what you wish for Steelers fans in that like Tomlin is a very good football coach.
That's the point I make. It's like don't take it for granted. Like I know it's annoying. Like, oh, I'm so sick of hearing about like I want a higher ceiling. This isn't an exciting team. The product's not exciting. It's like, it could be a lot fucking worse, guys. Trust me.
I think there's some resentment too. Like you look at George Pickens and he goes to Dallas and all of a sudden it's like, well, what's Dallas doing to unlock, the George Pickens greatness? But boys, I think that's an episode. Poosh, no, excuse me. One more note. Can you sell us on? You were raving about the Amazon Prime all 22
Prime Vision.
Yeah, Prime Vision.
Dude, Prime Vision.
Watch Thursday's game with that.
Prime Vision is sick. Okay, I'm not usually into like alternate broadcasts, but
not into the slime broadcast, Nickelodeon.
No,
coincidentally, I thought that would be a good stake for our team draft. The loser has to watch every alt broadcast next year, like all the silly alt broadcasts,
and report back.
And I don't mind the Manning the Manning broadcast either. I think there's some good insight in there, but the all 22. First of all, the Prime Vision, it's in all 22, so you get the behind the quarterback, which is awesome. I know for a knower,
kinders like us,
you can see the processing.
I've watched it a few times and it's cool because there's like they'll highlight play like blitzers, like just like there's AI. Okay, so I'll just put the AI.
Sure,
which scared me when you first told me that, but it's not as.
And he's
bad
like, I'm out. So it'll like highlight guys that it looks like, and they end up blitzing. It's like they know who's blitzing. I'm like, okay, because a lot of times guys are fake the blitz and then they don't fake and then they blitz, and it's like the AI is like just looking at probably the formation and going, okay, here's the tendency, this is what they probably do, and it's highlighting the guy. That was interesting. But what has really struck me was watching the run game, and especially I think maybe this had to do with watching the Lions, was watching Jahmyr Gibbs get into the hole, and you really can see how, first of all, how big the hole is, and secondly, how elusive a guy like that is when he gets into the hole versus a backer. And like, it's like the jump cuts are crazy. He's going like 4 yards to the left on a dime. Like, you think about if you ever played football or you like, you think you played at any level and you think about what it looks like in a hole. It's like the guy might make a cut in the hole, like maybe, but it's probably just going to be like, you're just going to tackle him in the hole. This guy at full speed will hit a step, and then he's all of a sudden like 3.5 yards to the right, like really fast, and he's not slowing down. And I'm like, the NFL is insane. Like the amount of athleticism and at the top level, the guys like that. And I'm just like, it's impossible. It's like I'm amazed how anybody's tackling that guy in open field. Like that's so it just like my selling point was like, watch it and like tell me that it's not really sick, and then being able to see kind of the things develop downfield. It's just a better
You know
viewing
what's funny though? You bring up a good point. Like they're so protective of the all 22. It's like, no, I mean, you got to have like a login for that. It's like,
I know. I've
like,
never
what is this,
quite
state
understood
secrets?
that.
Like, why
Yeah.
don't we get to see more all 22? Like, why aren't there clips of it that go out? You know, it's like you have to have like a login for it. I'm like, that feels like could be
I
a
think-
way to
I
get more
honestly
people
think
in the game.
it might be like a cinematic thing, because it's like, I think it's like when the quarterback releases the ball and you can't see where it's going.
You're
It's
like
like
on
a moment of
edge.
like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like that's just occurring to me. It was like,
Well, are there announcers on this broadcast?
yeah, you get the same audio broadcast, and
All
then
right,
but
I'm
then
gonna
they
check
have,
this out.
but then
Yeah.
it'll also be like they'll have a flash of thing, and it'll be like, and I know Randy's out on this, but it'll be like AI, like zone or man predictor, and then it'll be like man, it'll be like circle man, and be like, okay, this is man coverage, and then it'll most likely be man, and it's like, so it's kind of also walking you
That's
through
fine,
the game.
but I feel like AI, is that really AI, or is that just like, hey, these are the historical percentages and we're giving you like a prediction? I feel like we're
but the
starting
AI
to use AI in places where we don't need to use
the
AI.
engine is doing the work,
just as a
right?
term. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. But yeah, so it's not like
I'm in for
pops
this
up and it's
Thursday.
like, okay,
That's good. Good homework for us, Randy.
I was gonna say, you've sold me, and I'm honestly, I'll apologize. This is a mea culpa that I haven't watched it yet to this point. I feel like that's a big miss.
It's cool.
Well, kind of like Amazon's issue with Thursday night football. They just don't like market it very well. You know, sometimes I forget the Thursday night game's on. I'm like, oh yeah, it's on Amazon. You know, I'm just It's like, even it almost feels like Herb Street's like, don't tell anybody I'm doing this.
It also just,
and like Al Michaels
Herb
is
Street
like
and Al Michaels
dead
stink.
already.
They're
Yeah,
I know. They're my least favorite.
Yeah, and I think Herb Street knows that, so he's like never really like.
I can't stand Herb Street, dude. I'm out on that guy.
I don't mind Herbie. I don't think he should be doing an NFL game. I think he's overexposed, but I think I honestly, unrelated to NFL, I think College Game Day has turned into the best, like one of the best shows on TV. Now with Saban, like say what you want about McAfee, but like the chemistry of that show this year has been fire. Like that show is produced so well. They've obviously invested a ton in it, but they finally got like
moneymaker.
You know, well they got like Corso. You know, they respectfully like, you know, did Corso right, and they've moved on, and it feels like it's just really good. Like I look forward to watching it, and I don't feel that way about a lot of like pregame shows in any other sport. It's like, man, this is good TV.
It was the magic of the Chuck and EJ and Shaq, and like it's kind of getting to that level.
It matters.
So like, and I think Herb Street's a big reason for that. That was my point in bringing that up. Like I think he does a really good job on that show. I think he vibes.
He's he's like a straight man. So it's like having the straight man and then having like Corso kind of be like.
Well, it's just noticeable. Like he has a passion for college football. He's great with Fowler, great chemistry. There's just not a lot of chemistry with Al Michaels.
Al Michaels, dude, Al Michaels is like
he
might as well be an AI bot at this point, dude.
Yeah,
like,
it's just they should probably flip that over. I think maybe Herb Street was somebody else, but it's like I don't need Herb Street doing NFL stuff. I think there's enough good announcers out there. You could get a fresh team.
TC was on this, man. The Clapper was really good in the booth on Thanksgiving night. I wouldn't mind the Clapper doing the Thursday night. I know he'd have to switch networks and everything, but I don't mind the Clapper doing NFL games, you know, if we're looking for somebody. But boys, always great to convene the knowers. I thought we really got into some knowing today. I want to commend you both.
Can I just say one last thing I appreciate?
Of course.
In honor of TC, I got to get one more thing in. The Jets, #1 teams this year. Best teams
we do love
in the NFL. You know, so it's bleak for Jets fans, but hang your hat on that. The #1 teams operation.
Good on the Jets. TC also wanted us to read in. He absolutely loves Harold Fannin 2.0. So
yes.
TC, sorry that took us 1:46, but
we did read it in.
But there you go. Thank you everybody for listening. I think we're going to be back with a chop session next week, and then goals episode to close out the year, and then the Ballknowers will be back after the first of the year to talk playoffs and wrap the regular season. So Neil, Poosh, thank you. Everybody listening, thank you.
One more thing before we go. Yes. Where are we at in the standings?
Yes. Yeah, we
Thought you'd
missed
never
that.
ask, Poosh. Yours truly.
I was hoping
so
we'd miss that.
our team draft standings through 14 weeks. Yours truly, 56 points. TC, 52.5 points. Poosh, 52 points. And then Neil, 46.5 points. I think, Neil, the thing that's most concerning to you, you just don't have a lot of teams that are looking like they're going to make the playoffs.
I need the Lions to
definitely
up.
need the Lions.
And if Lions and Pats Super Bowl might be my only ticket to a win.
Yeah. So we'll keep you updated there as well.
Steelers in the playoffs, but yeah, the Jets, Giants, Cowboys, Falcons, Chiefs, not good.
Not good. All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you to our sponsors, ServPro, Stone Creek, FanDuel. And again, thank you for listening, watching. Cheers. Crack on. FanDuel disclaimer, must be 21 and older and present in select states. For Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and older and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777. Or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.